Shabbat Shalom. Parasha Shoftim is a more practical parasha, whose name, Shoftim, judges, conveys its content. The parasha deals mainly with the government, where the people in the parasha are not private individuals, but part of a collective called the Jewish people. And as such, the people are subject to the government and must listen to their representatives. At the beginning of our parasha, there is a famous and well-known verse. Do not pervert justice or show partiality. Do not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the innocent. A lawyer's job is misleading. He or she must justify a desired outcome and then persuade the judge, regardless of the truth. So, if that lawyer were hired by the other side, he or she would reach and embrace the opposite conclusion. Judges are warned not to accept bribes. Even if they try very hard to see things as they are, money will blind them. Even a judgment that is reasoned, explained, and logical can be madness. We're all lawyers in matters of faith. We all read the Torah from our own prejudice and previous ideas that have been planted in us. We can consistently ignore what is inconvenient to us in the text and interpret what is convenient for us in such a way that seems logical and serious to us. As lawyers, we lie to ourselves, using all the excuses in the world. We must try to find the courage to change and manage our lives according to the spirit and the intent of the scriptures, and not according to the most convenient way that we sometimes interpret the text to be. We're all judges too. We all look at people around us and judge them, whether it's their politeness, their clothes, their children, or their belongings. We're all judges, and usually we reach a verdict based on superficial appearances, without evidence, without investigation, without information on the reasoning of others. There's a story about a father with two children riding a bus. The children were behaving wildly. They were very restless, bothering the other passengers. The father, on his part, looked out of the window and seemed detached from reality, detached from the mess his children were making. How did the other passengers judge him and the children? He's not a good father. He is detached from his children. The children are not educated. There is no discipline. Overall, the situation is bad. You know how it is. Israelis, they like to push their nose into business that is not theirs. So the passengers mentioned that to the father, that his children were not under control and that he should do something about it. The father immediately responded, "Sorry for being detached. We are just in shock. We are returning home from the hospital where their mother just died. I'll take care of the children." Yes, this example is extreme, but I want to emphasize that one piece of information can change our viewpoint. A moment ago, before knowing the whole story, the emotions that flooded the passengers on the bus were anger, annoyance, irritation, and contempt for the father. After receiving the facts, their emotions changed to pity, caring, understanding, and empathy. One piece of information can make all the difference in how we see the people around us. We tend to judge people and families without knowing what goes behind the scenes. Sometimes we get hurt from one another in the community, at work, or even at home. But we do not know the whole story. We do not know all the facts. So the conclusion we reach will probably be incorrect. Pirkei Avot, or the Ethics of the Fathers, is a tractate of the Mishnah that deals with morality, with virtues and righteousness. It teaches us many important rules, two of which are, do not judge your fellow until you come to his place, and judge every person favorably. It is easy for us to judge people, especially as we sit back and look at everyone else, ignoring what led to the conflict. For example, you see your neighbor or member of the community, and he does not say hello. He ignores you. How rude! There are two possibilities here. One, he is self-centered and has no manners. And why am I even interested in his company? Two, he must be mad at me, or I did something that made him uneasy. What could it be? We forget to think about the third option, which is last night, one of the kids got up and wasn't feeling well. The father had to calm him and care for him. 5 minutes before they left the house, the boy wet his pants and needed a full change of clothes. In the car, the children behaved wildly. Because of the long night, the parents got tired and argued in the morning. They fought. And now we see the same family in the congregation. I hope we do not expect them to be jumping out of joy. The same thing can happen in marriage. A couple meets up for a date. The wife wants to talk, to share, to be close to her husband. The husband feels detached and not very attentive, even on the ride back home. The husband feels like he's somewhere else. The wife thinks, does my husband still love me? Does he want me? Do I still interest him? How can I fix the situation? Why doesn't he share with me how he's feeling? In short, this is a first-rate disaster. Meanwhile, the husband is thinking, the computer at work crashed. How do I save the data on the old computer and move it to the new one? And how much does a new computer cost? If only we were to adhere to these two rules. Do not judge your fellow until you come to his place, and judge every person favorably. I think our community life and our social lives would be much better and closer. We judge each other without knowing each other's very well. We do not even have the quarter of the evidence we need to formulate an opinion, let alone to judge. We tend to judge people about their problems and what they do not do right. But Yeshua warns us and says, what about your problems? Are you taking care of them? The person without problems cast the first stone. Shabbat Shalom.